This is Big Little Robot, and you are tuned in. Special thanks to our sponsors, Elite Figure Cases at elitefigurecases.com, Toy Figure Masterpiece at tfmasterpiece.com, and the Toy Pit at yourtoypit.com, also located at 9402 Uptown Drive, Suite 700 in Indianapolis. This is an instructional and unboxing review of the E01 Elite Figure Cases display. But before we go through the unboxing, I just want to show you exactly what we'll be reviewing and give you a taste of the product in its final assembly. Just give me a second to turn this on. Now, currently on display is the E01 gloss black Elite figure case. I have my Weijiang M01 Commander in the case right now. If you haven't noticed, this case has 8 blinding bright LED lights. And compared to some of the display cases out there, you might know that lighting is probably one of the most important features that you can have for your case. There's another great feature to this case, and that is an alternative backdrop for the case. If you don't want a black background to it, you can switch it to the other side. There are 3 separate acrylic panels and a backdrop. I've left the front acrylic panel off just to avoid any major reflections during filming. And as you can see, we have a beautiful mirrored backdrop, which gives us great visuals to more than just the front of the figure on display. So looking at the case now, you can really get that 3-dimensional feel with the figure using the mirrored backdrop. And there's more to a figure than just the front of it. I mean, being able to see the details in the back is just an added bonus. I'm going to switch this figure out and put one of my favorite figures in the display, and that is the Fan Toys Grinder. This figure is available at tfmasterpiece.com. If you're looking for one, you can purchase one there, along with many other figures. This is by far my favorite piece to display for the case, and its ability to bring out all the fine details. And I really like how it looks like it lights up the sword. The light's not even on the sword. I took the batteries out. It just really brings so much life to any dynamic pose for the figure. So maybe, or perhaps, you don't have a shelf or a well-lit area for your figure, but there was a reason why you bought your figures, and I doubt it was to put them in a dark cabinet or corner. I mean, come on, just look at this sword and how beautifully the light shines through it. The chrome on the chest and the claws have a great luster, and you can really see the panel lines with more depth because of all the bright lights and shadows. Here's a comparison shot of the M01 out of a case on display compared to the figure in a display. And as you can see, it's as different as night and day. Here are just some example images from the Toy Pit and other customers. The lighting in this case really brings out the dress colors of this Barbie figure. Again, here just all sorts of detail on this figure. This is a shot of Hot Toys War Machine suits, just giving us some nice detail in here too. I especially like images of the cases in the bookshelf. It really completes this ensemble crossover from novels, comics, and action figures. So let's unbox a brand new case and go through the parts and setup. This thing is pretty heavy and feels like some solid packaging. This is the E02, which is for the 1/8 scale collectibles, but of course you can choose to put whatever you want in these cases. Just finish cutting, and I'll lay it on its side so you can see the contents as they're set up from within. Whoops. So we have the backdrop that comes in both matte black and mirrored. The front clear acrylic plate. one side of the case, another side of the case, all covered in protective film. Instructions on assembly. That will come in handy, but it's quite easy to assemble. A bunch of high-powered LED lights. There should be 8 to be exact, and a bunch of little screws. And what do we have in the little white box? We have a little power adapter with a power indicator on it. Next we have the top of the display case, clearly indicated with the Elite Figure Cases logo branded on the top. Sounds pretty solid. Has a nice glossy black protected film. I'll go ahead and set that aside with the rest of the items. And finally, if I can get it out, the base of the display. So here are all the contents from the case, and we are going to start working on the base first. So here's the bottom of the case, and as you can see, it's connected by earth magnets, and we'll separate them to set up the attachment of the high-powered LEDs. So in order to insert the LED cables into the base, we'll need to remove the protective film. And as we can see, a beautiful piano black finish. Now we'll just grab one of these LEDs and slip them through the hole and make sure that you insert it so that the male and female connectors will meet later on. So I'm going to put all of these in place so that you can get a better understanding of our goal, but you could easily do this one at a time. Now we're going to just take out a couple of screws here. You should have a minimum of 16 total, but there may be one extra. Just make sure you put them in a safe place so you don't lose any. When you put the screws in, it's important that they're perfectly vertical and start to screw in with ease. This is important so you don't strip the screw while you're inserting it. It has a perfect fit, but you'll have to tinker with it a minute to twist them in properly. Also make sure you leave the first screw loose before lining them both up. Once you have them all tightened into place, you might want to angle the LEDs toward the middle before you assemble the male and female adapter parts. As you can see, there's a nice range of motion for these lights to position them in, and you can set them up the best way for your figure. So these male-female connectors fit a specific way, like a key would to a keyhole. You'll have to match up the innie and the outie, insert, and twist. You'll do this for all of the connectors. Again, match up the innie and the outie, insert, and twist. When you're done, make sure the cables are flush as possible to the inner part and out of the way of the edges. Just a little tip, because this is the bottom of the case, you don't need to remove the film if you don't want to, since no one's going to see it, but that is entirely up to you. Make sure you line up the base plate properly and it should magnetically snap together perfectly. There's an obvious groove right here to match up the alignment. If by chance you have a little black mat, you may want to place one on here. If you have figures with metal parts, some of the feet in Transformers figures are die cast, which could eventually leave spider scratches. And so that's just a little piece of advice before placing your figures with metal parts into the case. Next we have the remaining lights to attach to the top. But the great thing is, it's exactly the same as the base. So you just need to repeat the steps we just went over, and you're done. Now that we have our base and top assembled, all we need to do now is fit the pieces together. Now this is some pretty thick solid acrylic to go along with our solid base and top. We're going to remove the film from the clear acrylic panels. Just another piece of advice: if you don't want fingerprints all over your acrylic, grab a microfiber cloth and use it to hold the acrylic while you remove the film. This is a side panel here, so I'm going to slide that into place. I'm going to fast forward a bit and remove the film from these other panels. I'll leave the front panel off so you can see the internal parts better. Finally, we have the back plate to slide into place, and once we get these lined up, we'll go ahead and drop on the top. Make sure the electric connector is pointed toward the back so you don't have wires hanging off the front of your display. Take your Y connector and plug it into the top and bottom from where the wire is split. It doesn't matter which goes in what hole. Then grab your power cord, plug it in, and you have power. And an Elite figure case ready for display. Here I have my Masterpiece Bumblebee and Prowl from tfmasterpiece.com to use for the display and give you a little sample of this 1/8 scale case size and how brilliant the figures look in it. I'm going to dim the lights here to bring out the full effect on camera. As you can see, you could put almost anything you want in this case. Just to give you an idea, this is currently the E02 Black Elite. If you have a 1/6 scale figure, maybe the E01 will be more to your liking and proper size for your figures. The base is pretty wide, so you could easily put two figures back to back in the case if you truly wanted to. If black isn't the best tone to bring out the color in your figures, then you could try the E01 White Elite. Maybe the E01 isn't exactly what you need. Go for the E02 White Elite. EliteFigureCases.com currently has 4 available cases, and they'll have more in the future with more features as they improve the models over time. Finally, for the case, here's a sample of my Play Arts Kai Venom Snake. And you can see, judging from his size, maybe you want to go with the 1/6 scale or the 1/8 scale case. I'll have better images of him in the gallery here at the end. But this pretty much concludes the Elite Figure Cases unboxing and assembly instruction. Please remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.